Hey, I want you to imagine a situation real quick. A rookie comes in, breaks attendance records, brings unprecedented viewership to women's basketball, and generates more mainstream media coverage for the WNBA than the league has seen in its 28-year history. The logical response would be celebration, right? Welcome the Golden Goose with open arms? Well, apparently not, because Caitlin Clark's first professional season has revealed something uncomfortable about the human nature and the culture of the WNBA. But first, I'm gonna have to ask you to subscribe. I make sports content just like this just about every millennia, so hit that notification bell if you'd like to be alerted when I finally upload. Clark arrived in the WNBA carrying expectations that would crush most. She spent her college career rewriting history books at Iowa, pulling off shots that defied basketball logic, and drawing crowds that turned women's college basketball into real primetime TV. The hype machine was in overdrive and everybody knew it, but what nobody anticipated was how her new WNBA teammates would respond to someone whose mere presence fundamentally altered the sport's popularity. Let's establish some context here. Before Caitlin Clark entered the league, WNBA games averaged around 400,000 viewers when they were televised at all. Many games weren't even on broadcast. In contrast, Clark's debut against Connecticut drew 2.1 million viewers. That's more than some NBA playoff games. These aren't marginal improvements, they represent a massive shift in the league's popularity. Clearly there was a superstar in the midst, and it was needed. To further drive that point forward, her statistical production as a rookie was equally impressive. Clark averaged 19.2 points per game and about 8.4 assists per game, breaking the rookie assist record and finishing second in the Rookie of the Year voting. And she did all of this while being targeted with an intensity typically reserved for established superstars. Every game, defenders glued themselves to her from even half court, and yet she still managed to shoot 41.7% from the field and 34.4% from the three-point range. But the statistics only tell part of the story. The more revealing narrative emerged in how other players treated her, both on and off the court. Professional sports have always featured rookie initiations, but Clark's experience transcended the typical hazings. The physical play she endured went beyond competitive intensity and into something that looked completely personal. Chicago's Shenedy Carter delivered a shoulder check that would make an NFL linebacker proud, then dismissed it with a shrug when asked about it in the postgame. The foul was later upgraded to a flagrant after review, but the message was clear: you are not welcome here. And Carter wasn't alone in this. Players across the league seemed to take particular pleasure in testing Clark's resolve. The hard screens became harder, incidental contact became much less incidental, and the typical rookie grace period, that brief honeymoon where veterans might ease a newcomer into professional play, simply did not exist. What made this treatment particularly striking was how it contrasted with the reception of other high-profile rookies. When generational talents enter established leagues, there's usually some sort of respect, curiosity, and professional courtesy. Think about how when LeBron James was received in the NBA, or how the NFL established veterans initially approached Peyton Manning. There's testing, certainly, but also the recognition of exceptional ability. So when Clark received the testing without the recognition, there was certainly an issue. The most puzzling aspect of Clark's reception wasn't the physical play, that's just a part of basketball. Instead, it was the consistent pattern of dismissal from fellow players. Social media became a battleground where established WNBA players, like Angel Reese for example, would diminish her accomplishments without giving any recognition. Even the league's reigning MVP at the time made pointed comments about not needing to prove her worth to anyone, clearly a shot at Caitlin Clark. Another top player, Diana Taurasi, suggested that the college game doesn't translate to professional play, essentially telling reporters to pump the brakes on Clark. And these weren't just isolated incidents, they represented a coordinated hate towards Clark trying to stomp her out. And the irony here is thick enough to cut with a knife. The WNBA has spent decades fighting for attention, respect, and financial stability. Television ratings recently have been anemic, attendance sparse, and mainstream media coverage virtually non-existent. And then Caitlin Clark comes around, and single-handedly addresses all three problems. But what was the response from all of this? Suspicion and resentment. And what emerged was a textbook case of gatekeeping. Clark's crime wasn't poor play or bad attitude, it was bringing too much attention to a league who had grown comfortable with being niche. Her success highlighted uncomfortable truths about the WNBA's previous inability to capture mainstream attention, so when Clark drew 2.1 million viewers for her debut, it implicitly raised questions. Why hadn't the league achieved these numbers before? Were the players not compelling enough? Was the marketing insufficient? Or had everyone simply accepted limitations that just didn't exist? And these questions didn't require Clark to articulate them, her mere presence made them unavoidable. And human nature being what it is, some people chose to blame the messenger rather than examine the message. The gatekeeping extended beyond individual players to systemic issues. Media coverage that had been scarce for years suddenly materialized, but most of it was focused on Clark specifically rather than the league broadly. This created a zero-sum perception where Clark's success came at the expense of other players' recognition, a fundamentally flawed premise, but one that felt real to athletes who had labored in relative obscurity. Here's what makes the whole situation particularly frustrating. Clark's success represents exactly what the WNBA has needed for years. She brings viewers who might become fans of other players, she generates media attention that benefits the entire league, and she creates financial opportunities that lifts all the boats. Take professional tennis offers as an instructive parallel. When Maria Sharapova burst into the scene in the early 2000s, her success and media attention didn't diminish other players, it elevated the entire women's game. TV ratings improved, prize money increased, and sponsorship opportunities expanded. The established players recognized that rising tides lifts all ships. And right now, the WNBA has had a similar moment with Clark, but the portions of the league seem determined to waste it instead of embracing attention and leveraging it for all benefit. And for whatever reason, some choose to view her success as a threat rather than an opportunity. Clark's experience with the WNBA reflects broader cultural tensions about success, merit, and recognition. In an era where every achievement is scrutinized for underlying advantages or systemic benefits, exceptional performances become suspect. Clark's success was attributed to everything except her basketball ability: media bias, racial dynamics, college system advantages, marketing machinery, and even so-called pretty privilege. This analysis conveniently ignored the most obvious explanation. She's just really good at basketball. The shots she's made, the passes she's threaded, the game she's controlled, these weren't manufactured by media hype or systemic advantages. They were a product of exceptional skill applied at the highest level. And I think the tendency to find alternative explanations for obvious excellence says more about the observers than the performer. When success becomes so uncomfortable that people create elaborate theories to explain it away, something fundamentally has gone wrong in how we process achievement. Moving forward, Clark's rookie season is over, and the WNBA is left to grapple with what her experience has revealed about itself. The numbers are undeniable. She brought attention, revenue, and new fans to a league that desperately needed all three. And now the real question is whether the league can build on that foundation or whether it will retreat into its previous comfort zone. Some early signs are mixed. Clark has generally handled the adversity with grace, focusing on the basketball rather than engaging in the public disputes. Clearly, the fans recognize her for her greatness, but the league itself does not. And what's certain is that the league can't afford to waste the momentum she's created. Professional sports are littered with missed opportunities and squandered potential. The WNBA has spent nearly 3 decades building towards a moment like this one, and whether they decide to capitalize on it or not will determine not just Clark's legacy, but the future league's trajectory. The choice is theirs to make. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and leave a like if you'd like to see more. But that's all I've got time for today, so see you guys next time.